welcome to the new and improved Union Fitness Podcast, brought to you by Josh. Just Josh, our new producer. We are in the new Union Fitness Studios. I'm your host, Todd Hammer, General Manager of Union Fitness. Sitting here with my lovely co-host,
Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav to my Chuck D, Mr.
CJ.
Charles Jasper, everyone.
Professional name,
CJ. We are here in the studio today recording. Again, first podcast back since COVID hit. We began recording, and then COVID hit, and we stopped recording, and the world stopped, and we're back, and we're happy. Our friend Josh Elsas came in. He's going to be our producer now, and we're going to bring some good, cool people, some good information, kick some butt, have some fun, learn some things.
Hopefully our producer's last name.
I hope our last day.
Name.
He's
got headphones on. He can't hear.
I can't hear. I'm deaf from loud heavy metal music for many years. But back to my point. We have our special guest, lacrosse coach from Fresno State University, CJ.
It's a pretty big deal because this is like the first official one.
I mean, it's the Valley. I don't know how V. Do you guys have a hand? Well, you'll teach us that. The V.
They just run Bulldogs on the field.
The fun fact, leading scorer in the history of women's lacrosse Fresno State. Did you know that?
It's a big deal.
And I want to tell the story before we introduce her, because I'm going to kind of allow her to introduce herself. The first time we met, I was working for a university, and Kara came in to interview for the head coaching job. And
Do you want to tell the university's name?
No, I'm not going to say the school. We're going to protect the guilty.
Okay.
Because they didn't hire her. Mistake. But I said, she kind of rolled in just with this cool confidence. And I was like, all right, I don't know what she's bringing to the table, but she brings something.
Some heat.
Yeah, some heat. And we started talking, and then kind of hooked up through social media and talked a little more. And I was like, she trains. She's a cool sport coach. So we became friends. And I
Tatted.
said, hey, Tat, big sleeve. CJ got some sleeve additions recently. My doctor today found out she is a sleeve. But another fun fact. But yeah, so Kara, welcome to the new and improved Union Fitness Podcast.
Woo!
Hello.
Was that our crowd?
That's pretty good.
So hey, so tell us, just to start out. Obviously, I didn't go too deep into who you are, why you're here. Give us your background, and then tied in how you got into coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here. Even though we're all virtual nowadays, so still getting used to that and new creative ways to connect with people via Zoom and social media. My name is Kara. I'm from the great Buckeye State.
Oh man.
You will frown upon, right?
Oh man.
Columbus, Ohio. That is where I'm from. That is where I grew up. Always grew up playing all sorts of sports. Basketball, soccer, tennis, everything of that nature. Love to being outside. I've always found transcendence within nature. Was raised in a single parent household by my dad, which I think is pretty cool. Pretty unique situation. My dad played basketball at Ohio State, so I always looked up to him in that regard. He always was modeling the way and setting the tone as far as what a good role model should look like. His work ethic, his consistency in life, and always just showing up. So with playing sports all my life, I was a basketball player. So that was I'm pretty tall, pretty aggressive, and so was comfortable in following that route of, I knew I wanted to be a collegiate athlete at the Division I level. So basketball was going to be my route. Freshman year of high school, during one of my basketball games, the lacrosse coach actually worked our scoreboard. His name's Adam Stewart. He coaches men's lacrosse at Denison University. So he came up to me after the game. He was like, hey, I know you never played lacrosse before, but I love what you have going on. I love your athleticism. I would love for you to come to practice. And I was like, lacrosse seems kind of girly. They wear skirts. I knew a bunch of girls that play lacrosse. I'm like, I don't know if that's like my vibe. But okay, went out to practice, probably a few days later. I was like the tall kid with the stick on the field who didn't know how to catch and throw. And I was like, okay. But there was something about seeing 120 yards of grass in front of me, and just like, how dynamic lacrosse is. It's just such an awesome sport that blends so many different sports. Like basketball has a lot of hockey concepts, a lot of soccer concepts, and I loved its uniqueness in that way. So first day I was hooked, and I was obsessed with how bad I was. I'm like, how in the world? I was like cradling. What? How do you? So I went into the coach's office after. I'm like, how do you keep the ball on your stick? Just want to know.
Fair
And
question.
he was baffled. He was like, that's like someone coming into a basketball coach's office and saying, how do you dribble? But I had that confidence in myself that if I wanted to get good at something, wanted to get good at lacrosse, I was going to. So I just fell in love with the game, decided that's what I wanted to play in college. So obviously starting a little bit later than normal. As you guys might know, lacrosse is booming on the East Coast, Maryland, Jersey, Philly, New York. So, and they, a lot of those kids, they're born with a stick in their hand. So I had some catching up to do. I was chasing a lot of the big names and getting recruited by some bigger name schools and just trying to find that right fit. I'm big on team culture. And so visiting these different schools, I'm like, all right, what kind of experience am I looking for? And what kind of impact do I want to make and influence I want to create? And so that landed me at Fresno State as an athlete. I was a part of the second recruiting class. At that point in time, we were in the MPSF that included the Pac-12. So it was the Pac-12 with the MPSF. So Stanford, USC, Oregon, to play on that type of stage was awesome and really attracted me to the university. And the coach, her name is Sue Beam. She is in Rochester now. She was the coach who recruited me. Amazing lady. She made me feel like I couldn't say no. She was just on me and just continually getting to know me as a person, lacrosse aside, which I loved. I put a lot of value in that in my decision. So fast forward, I actually got my degree in adventure recreation at Fresno State, which is
I need that degree.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, right?
So what do you do?
So originally I wanted to be a strength coach. I would love to be sitting in your chair, right? I was like, man, I want to be a strength coach. And my academic advisor was like, hey, listen, I know how much you love the outdoors and people and working with kids. She's like, we have this sweet major called recreation, and has different specificities with adventure or working with at-risk youth and, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, that's what I'm doing. Bunch of different certifications, rock climbing, river rafting, working with at-risk youth, and definitely a fun major to be a part of. Knew pretty early on, though, throughout my collegiate career, I wanted to coach. I just love empowering young people and specific women. And, especially considering my situation, like I grew up without a mother, without a strong female leader. So I kind of wanted to forge the way in becoming my own in a certain sense. Like that's kind of what I really embodied, and following my father's lead in a lot of different ways. But what did that look like, and what example do I want to set for other women? And so that I followed that path of coaching. Landed my first collegiate coaching job after I spent a summer after graduation working in the outdoor department at Cal at UC Berkeley. Best summer of my life. But yeah, love it up there. But landed my first collegiate coaching job at Oberlin College in Ohio. So I love Oberlin. I love the diverse and eclectic group of student athletes that we had. We had kids walking around with no shoes. I'm like, you do you, girl. And like,
it sounds like you at work.
No, I'm definitely a shoe guy, man.
Ripped shoes.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
We just kicked butt. I was an assistant there. My boss, she won 4 consecutive national championships at Northwestern. So I said, Linda McCandlish, I was like, man, I'm going to learn a lot from her. And so I was there for about 2 years. oh my goodness, we lost to Denison, thinking of Adam Stewart in the NCAC championship. But yeah, had a great experience there. Went on to coach at a small Division I outside of Pittsburgh, St. Francis University. I was a head coach there for almost 4 years, about 3.5 seasons.
I have to tell you this. Yeah. I'm going to interrupt you. When I mentioned you, CJ said, "Oh, do you mean the jacked woman from St. Francis?"
Mm-hmm. And I wasn't wrong.
Oh, you remember during our Robert Morris time?
Yeah.
He's like that coach at St. Francis, the Jack chick. I was like, yeah.
Jack chick, I love it.
Practice what you preach, you know.
Right, I totally believe in that. Man, I had one of my favorite coaches, Lauren Schmidt. She was All-American at Stanford. She was trying out for the USA team, all that kind of good stuff during her time at Fresno State. She was only there for a year, unfortunately, but oh my gosh, I looked up to her so much. And she'd be running sprints after practice, and she'd be like, "Hey, Kara, like, jump in with me." She would kick our butts. And I love that. I had so much respect for a coach that, again, like you said, practice what they preached and could jump into drills, all that kind of stuff, and kick butt. So I'm like, man, that's what I'm always aiming for. And my players know that whatever I'm asking of them, I could do and do well. So that's my goal, you know. So,
you know, you said something I love. You said two things about coaching, and I don't know if you intentionally did it, but one, you talked about building a relationship. And that coach at Fresno State that recruited you, building that relationship, and to me, that's everything. If you, because I forget what book it was, and I wish I remembered because I use it so much, but they said in any position, trust and respect's all that matters. If you don't trust a person, if you don't respect a person, and to me, when that coach asks those questions, you know, about you as a person, that's building that trust and respect. And the other thing you mentioned, you know, the practice that you preach, like that's how you build that. When the kid sees you, and I say kid, no matter what age you're coaching, get out there and try something. And I think even going and trying something and failing, even if the kid sees you fail, they know you're human and you're willing to step up to bat and sometimes strike out. And I think as a coach, that's such a great thing to see. I wish more coaches would put their egos away and say, hey, I'm going to step up because I'm going to earn trust and respect by failing right now because I'm going to try this. And it might go in the goal and it might not go in the goal, but I'm going to go for it. So I just think that's awesome. And I think as a coach, you can see, obviously, you're passionate with that coming through.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. You talking about, trial and error and the, failing. I think that is such a crucial part of the development. And so many athletes have that fear of failure or that lack of confidence. So that is a huge motivation for me and huge drive for me is to build that and to get them out of their comfort zones. I mean, those are some of my roots, right? I stepped into a situation where I was the worst lacrosse player on my high school team, but I knew, it was going to be whatever I made of it. And with putting in forth that effort and whatnot and accepting, those failures, it just, comes great success in the future. But yeah.
So we have a couple people, friends in common, or people we probably know in common that I don't think you realize. One, do you know Mark Watts, who was a strength coach at Denison forever?
Yeah, I don't know.
It might have been before her time.
Okay, well, I thought maybe when she was young. Well,
yeah.
So he was a strength coach at Denison forever. So I've actually been there and spoken twice. And those small Ohio schools, Denison, Kenyon, they are beautiful. Like
I love them.
They're awesome. But the other one is, and I don't know if we had talked about this before, is Amy, Ohio State's coach now, Amy Bacher now.
Oh yeah, Amy Bacher.
I was her strength coach at George Mason.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
That's
before
awesome.
she went out to Stanford. She was the head coach at Stanford and moved on to Ohio State. And I'm sitting at Union Fitness.
Hey, it's pretty cool here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'd rather be here than most colleges.
They don't do podcasts on.
So let me ask you a question now. So you're a college coach. Here you are. You're sitting with your team. How much of a rules coach are you? And when you say to your team, here are my expectations, rules, whatever. A, how important are they to you? And B, what are your go-to kind of set in stone deal breakers with a kid?
Absolutely. So it starts very early on within the recruiting process. I really take my time throughout the recruiting process to get to know the athlete as a person, their likes, their interests, their family. I want to have relationships with their family members. So definitely take my time and when I'm watching them on the field, I watch how they interact with their teammates. I watch how they interact with their coaches. Can't tell you how many times I've crossed kids off my list, no matter how awesome of lacrosse players they were, just because of that attitude. And how many players I've coached have maybe that lack of skill set, that have that grittiness, that mental edge. I'm like, I want that kid on our team. And just that workforce mentality and that openness and that coachability. So yeah, with that being said, team culture is huge. I always talk about it, and whatnot. And some of my different core values, I believe in having that family dynamic. And being a part of a family is hard. We have unconditional love for one another. We have respect for one another and embracing our likes, dislikes, our differences, creating an inclusive environment. And with that, holding each other accountable. I really am always pushing that aspect. So, are you comfortable with staying in your own lane, or are you going to be the type of person that is, outreaching your arms for those who are falling behind and saying, hey, notice you're falling behind a little bit. I'm not going to let that happen. So we're going to, take these necessary steps to make sure we're on the right track and we're propelling forward in the right direction. So as far as rules and stuff like that, I'm a big believer in player-led leadership and player-led initiatives. So with that, when I first kind of was starting to learn about that, I'm like, man, that sounds kind of soft when you think about it right out the gate. Like, the players run the ship,
Right.
They run the show. And, the more, I dove into that topic and explored it more in my field of work, I was like, this is awesome. Everything should be coming from the team. It's all about what they want to make out of the situation that they're in. So we have tons of different sessions where, building those core foundations and finding out, like, why are we here? Because everyone, is here for a different reason and has their own individual drive and motivation. We got to know what those things are about ourselves. We got to know what those things are about each other. So with that, finding out what our why is, why we're doing what we're doing, and that really sets the standard then to, what goals we're working towards. But it has to come from them. I can want to win our NPSF championship. I can want to go to NCAAs, but, if it's not, a general goal amongst the whole team, then why even do what we do? So really challenging them in the fact that I really encourage them, and we just met with our seniors not too long ago, even in this unique situation that we're in, with, all right, what does the fall look like for you, and setting the standard of excellence, even though we're not practicing right now. And so they came up with all these different things to relay onto the team, and having those consistent meetings and sharing their viewpoints and messages there. So I guess that's kind of like my big driving force there. I guess to answer your question is like that player-led leadership and initiative is huge, and I'm always trying to encourage them in that way and build that type of culture and environment where it comes from them. They should be the ones that want to go out to practice 30 minutes early to get some touches on their sticks and spending that extra time doing whatever it is. I can't be that. And, I know early on in my coaching career, I was like bringing the energy and intensity every day, and not everyone was feeling that, and that's, you're not going to always have everyone on board. So then, it's getting down into the nitty gritty of laying that strong foundation. Why are we here? Why are we doing what we do? What matters to you? And then that's how we build from there.
All right, so let me ask you this then, and this is a two-parter. One, tell us about your best lifts, the ones you're most proud of. And with that one, how much better is your clean than CJ's?
Whoa.
But also, how does your training, because obviously, your training is very impressive, affect you as a coach, not just for their physical preparedness, but how do you think it changes your view as a coach?
Yeah, definitely.
And start with your best lifts so we can talk. So I can talk.
I love the clean and jerk.
There you go.
Really,
You don't.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people have fallen off during the quarantine. I've gotten quarantine fit. I've got it going on.
Turned it up.
I have put a lot of fuel in my tank, and definitely have had some tough days where I'm like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I in the garage right now just getting after it? and I'm, refocusing on to, what's important. Want to model the way, right? And I want to be the coach that I would want to be coached by and setting that example. Clean and jerk, probably around like 235 right now.
That's big time.
Yeah.
That is.
I love lifting. I love CrossFit. Got into it after I graduated college. Used to make fun of it because I'd watch the butterfly.
Do you still make fun of
That's
it?
not cool.
Do you still make fun of it even though you're in it?
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay, all
I
right.
totally do.
It's totally okay to do
I
that,
totally
though.
do.
All
You
right.
make fun of powerlifting, you know?
Well, powerlifting's fat dudes just drinking whiskey and squatting. That's boring.
Yeah.
CrossFit's actually somewhat entertaining to watch.
Yeah. They're for sure shredded up.
It is fun.
Yeah.
A lot of respect for the CrossFit athlete, but yeah, definitely still make fun of them a little bit. I coach CrossFit too, part-time. It's been super fun to be a part of the CrossFit Fresno community. It's been a blast. I'm actually coaching tomorrow night, just coached last night, and it just fires me up. Yeah, I love the clean and jerk, but one of my goals has been to be as strong as I can and just be a good runner too. Man, how hard is that though?
That's pulling at both ends.
As strong as I can be, but a good runner. So just trying to balance those two things because, in lacrosse, we run quite a bit. In CrossFit, we run quite a bit too. Got to make sure our fitness is on point and all that metabolic conditioning, all that kind of good stuff. So,
Are you talking quick sprints here? You're talking marathons? What are we talking like? What are we doing in between?
A variance of both. We just did a time mile the other day at the gym, and so I'm cranking that out. And
What was your time?
Right now it's like 5:28.
And you're just
5:28.
cruising, like pushing.
Yeah, what I think though, and my mental state has changed so much, which is why I like to, go back to your point, Todd, and you're like, how has it changed? When you're in college, you're like, I don't want to run. Oh my gosh, we're running. It's just running. It's just running. It's one of the most primal things we can do, right? So just getting out of that mindset of you're going to be tired. It's going to hurt. I'm always like, hey guys, a mile is 4 laps around a track. That's it. Like empty the tank. And it is what it is. And like all you can do is do your best. And that's it. So really just trying to take that pressure off and, hey, we're going to do our best. We're going to see where we're at. And we're definitely going to improve. But yeah, how that plays into like my role is, like we kind of have been touching on and, setting that example and modeling the way there.
Do you give a pregame speech to every lift, practice, and game?
While drinking a coffee.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Like, how do you drink a lot of coffee? Like, what is it? What's in the tank? Because you're sending it. We'll call you every day before a squat session.
Man, it's just like kind of, I don't know, tuning into that mindset of like, I can, and it might sound cheesy, but it's just like what I grew up on. And
I mean,
when
you
I was
love
younger,
it. You love it.
I love it. I have so much passion for what I do and passion for people. But when I was younger, and I always wasn't that way. I always have had such good energy, but I was always seeking a lot of validation when I was younger. I'm like, oh, how was that practice? Or like, how do you think I did there? And my dad would be like, well, how do you think you did? Like, how do you think you did? Like, what do you think? And so I was always like, okay. Because it always has to come from you. You cannot rely on other people for motivation. I'm so done with that. So many athletes are like, well, I'm just not motivated. Well, whose fault is that?
Yeah, turn it up.
So I'm just like, and I empathize in a lot of different situations and stuff like that. Everyone is their own unique individual and has to, find different ways. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I think, I'm very competitive, and I know how much potential I've had throughout my life, and I've always just wanted to reach those goals and push harder because it's fun. Improvement is fun, and just continually becoming a better version of yourself.
And you said something great about like bringing the juice every day. As a coach, I mean, obviously you have to, I always say,
Right.
Are you a thermometer or are you a thermostat? Anyone can tell me the temperature. Are you controlling it? But it's such a balance because, like you said, you also want to be player-led. You don't want to have to. There are times as a coach, and I know you've run into some CJ's run into it, where the practice, the room, the lift is running hot. You don't know why, and you're just like catching the wave and riding it. You're just surfing. And then there are other days it's not there. So I think the balance, and you hit on it there, between controlling the temperature, and just watching the temperature, because there are times just to lay back. And as a
Right.
coach, it's such an art to be like, all right, you know what, these kids got it, or this group is
Absolutely.
feeling it. I need to just put the thing in neutral, and let it
Right.
do what it's doing.
Or you take 2 Red Bulls, crack them together, stone cold them, and then let the boys eat.
this
See,
love
look
it.
at that.
when Charles was a young whippersnapper,
My GA days.
I sent him to work for a friend of mine. I say I sent him because I feel like I was shipping him off to Boston. Boston via Moorhead, Kentucky.
Yeah,
Moorhead State.
very close.
And he wanted to hype up a baseball team. And a baseball team is exactly what you think it is. So there's a great video online. We should find Josh. If you could find this video, we can play.
Oh, it's deep on the Instagram
Oh,
files. I don't know.
It's buried. Josh is going to try to find it. And of CJ having 2 Red Bulls thrown at him pre-lift, cracking him like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
There might be some unheard words in there.
circa 2007, and chugging the Red Bulls prior to the team lift.
I don't think Matt Rhodes ever knew about it, but the wall behind was sticky and stained for probably the whole season.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever done Squattober? Do you know Squattober?
Is that doing squats every day?
Yeah, it's
squats every day?
yeah, Sornex. Do you know Sornex? The exercise
Yeah,
equipment?
I think I follow him on Instagram.
The curly mustache, big beard.
Yeah, curly mustache guy. So they're doing the Squattober, and me and CJ were discussing the goods and the bads of it. And to me, much like with everyone loves to pick on CrossFit,
Yeah.
but CrossFit's great at creating culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's created a culture and a community, and CrossFit went through some struggles this year, and I think that shows the community that is in CrossFit. And we had a friend of mine who went to CrossFit gym recently, who was in town, came trained with us, and said he dropped his affiliate. He said, and he's still basically doing the same things.
It's to the right.
He's just no longer CrossFit. Oh, he found the video. Look at that.
Go 2 right and then 2 down.
But one of the best things CrossFit has done, and I always say this, CrossFit's done 2 things that no one else has ever done. 1 is build culture and community.
Yeah.
2, CrossFit has introduced more women to weightlifting than anything else.
Hands down.
Like
Love it.
like women lift weights. Oh, we found the video. Can we put that video up? This is
Hold
this
on to
is
your butts.
A young CJ coaching.
Hook me up.
I can only imagine.
There was an expletive. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I told you there were some unheard words. So
Baseball team.
yeah.
Yeah,
Heat
so
'em up.
I think it's funny because people in the powerlifting community, I think in the Olympic lifting community,
They're like butthurt.
they
Upset.
get upset, and they oh, CrossFit does this, and like I said, the 2 points I'll always make is you may not agree with everything they do, but like I did my first CrossFit workout this year. I did a WOD. I did Murph.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, it was my birthday. I felt old, and we were just coming off quarantine. I wasn't there where I was my training, so I was like,
Why
I'm gonna
not?
give this thing a try. And honestly, it was fun. It's not something I want to do again.
Yeah.
But I was like, I enjoyed it, and I can see why people do it. It's not my thing though.
Yeah, I got into CrossFit for a minute there, right in college,
In college,
because I didn't have sports. Like I missed sports, so I was like, this is the closest I can get to a team.
And CJ was a recovered rower, and rowers love volume. So
Love
they're
it.
kind of like CrossFitters.
yeah.
Like, hey, we only did 500 reps.
Yeah. Where's
Yeah.
my 600?
Whereas in powerlifting, it's like you're doing 7 whole reps today. What's that gonna take 2 hours?
In one set.
No, that's 7 sets.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
10-minute rest between
Yeah.
with music cranking the
Eating
whole
a
time.
few donuts.
Eating. We used to do this thing. You don't do this in CrossFit. You should. Where we would finish our core lift, order a pizza.
Whoa.
The pizza would show up during accessories, and it was a superset. Slice of pizza,
Amazing.
set a lat pull down.
Talk about gains.
That's
That-
legendary.
With
I want to be
C's.
there. I want to be there.
It's not gonna help your mile time.
Yeah, probably not.
The pizza and the donuts here, not all about the mile time. So, fun fact. I have a lot of fun facts today. I don't know why.
It's fun.
A few years back, I did this piece with NPR. It was called City of Strength, and we talked about how Pittsburgh has this absurd amount of competitive lifters and really strong human beings, and from Bruno Sammartino to Steve McDonald, Steve McDonald was America's Strongest Man 3 years in a row. Just this crazy amount of really strong people. And I said there are a few cities that have this, and they just, maybe it's blue collar, and I don't know what it is.
It's cold and there's nothing else to do.
But one of the other cities I referenced was Columbus. And
Yeah.
it's like when you look at Columbus with Westside Barbell.
Yeah.
And then
Louis.
all of the amazing gyms that have come out of Columbus. There's Matt Wenning's there with his gym, and 614 Barbell and the Spot,
JL,
and with JL Holdsworth, and
Probably some good boxes up there.
what the heck are you guys doing in Columbus? Like, why is everyone strong? Why is everyone stronger than me?
I don't know. That's crazy. I love it though. I know the Rogue headquarters is in Columbus too. So
Rogue, Elite
that really
FTS.
inspired a lot of boxes to open. I mean, oh my gosh, within a 50-mile radius, there has to be over 50 CrossFit gyms in Columbus.
They still use the term box. I thought that was like an
Yeah,
old
I don't
term.
really say. I just say gym.
Yeah.
Say gym. One of my favorites in Columbus actually is owned by. He was an indoor track runner at Ohio State, Olympian, silver medalist in the Olympics. CrossFit Clintonville, one of the most fun gyms, super inclusive. I love it. The most eclectic gym in Columbus.
Where is Clintonville? I've never been.
Yeah, it's like a little suburb. There's like Grandview, Hilliard.
I know
all
Grandview and
of
Hilliard,
which are
yeah.
in Columbus, but yeah, Clintonville is right. I think it's like north of High Street, so it's High Street kind of separates it. But yeah, Clintonville, cool little spot.
That's the problem. Every time we go to Columbus, I have all these like awesome gyms I want to visit, and I can't make all the
not
trips
enough
because
time.
there's like 8,000 cool spots. I'll even go. Nick Showman, who will be here Friday.
The Showman.
The Showman owns Showtime Strength. Do you know Nick? Do you know Showtime
That
Strength?
sounds really familiar.
Nick trains at Westside, and
Okay.
very strong individual, and he owns a spot in. He's 45 minutes east. Sorry, I had to do the directions. East of Columbus, and he is an awesome dude, good friend of mine, been friends for years.
Nice.
He actually came from Denison.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he was one of Mark Watts' interns back in the day at Denison when he opened a Showtime.
You know what we need to do?
What do we need to do?
Instead of going to Columbus for a little brewery tour, we go to Columbus and bounce from CrossFit gym to CrossFit gym. In between going to the brewery right next to it.
I like this.
You can clean and jerk 235. I'll stay with the bar.
Deadlifting.
Deadlift.
CJ's clean never even got to par.
I trained with an Olympic athlete, though. Fun.
That's pretty sweet.
It's
Well,
fun.
it doesn't. So we have this national champ that works for us here. She
No
was
big
a
deal.
National champ jav thrower. at
It's
Florida.
whatever.
Oh, sweet.
Like she's such a bad.
G. She's a
yeah,
G.
I'm not gonna swear. That Fawny, her national championship throw was her first throw.
Yeah, junior
And then,
year.
and then
That's insane.
Second
Just
and third.
closed out after that.
Yeah, I said just walk up and drop
Yeah.
the thing. Just drop the mic. But Fawny, there she is right there.
In a Florida Gator shirt.
Fawny, I love her to death, but she would rather drink the beer than train.
Now.
Yeah, but she loves to train. So she's not a great example of an Olympic athlete you trained with.
Big
Because, yes,
truck.
we both trained with her,
Yeah.
but she was more for the whiskey.
Well, you know,
And I do enjoy the whiskey, though.
you
So.
gotta live.
Yes. So what advice you got for us here at Union Fitness? You're more into the private. You've been in the private side. What things can we take from you to make us better? Because this is, I'll be totally honest with you. When I started the podcast, my exact quote is, I don't really care if anyone ever listens. I just want to talk to cool people.
Yeah, that's dope.
So teach us something.
And you're a cool people.
Ooh, good stuff. I'm getting my master's right now. I thought this was a really good time to go back to school. Getting my master's right now in strategic and organizational leadership. So, and I wasn't really sure right off the bat, like what all that would entail, but going through a bunch of different like leadership theories, practices, applications, and of course, a lot of thick text there, but like in simplest terms, when I'm like reading about these different things, the first thing that comes to mind is like your authenticity is one of the greatest things you can bring to the table. Like you being you and everything that you are. I think that is like a huge message I continue to drive out, just remind myself of personally and to, my athletes and other people, like always be you and all that kind of good stuff. And then, yeah, vulnerability, being vulnerable, that really, takes a lot of courage and shows true strength in, you don't know what you don't know. And, having that openness and expressing yourself in that way and always having that growth mindset, I think is so important. And that's how I've continued to build really genuine and meaningful relationships with not just my athletes, but people, is, showing my authenticity, showing my vulnerability there and really getting down to, not afraid to wear my heart on my sleeve, and, no matter what it might be, positives, negatives, all that kind of good stuff, and really opening up to people. That's how you really earn and build trust. So I think those are two things that I really have thought about a lot lately and continue to, remind myself of and others.
That started out so Mr. Rogers, and it warmed my heart so much.
Like
you're like, you are so, and I was like, I am a good person. Thank you.
We need more Mr. Rogers.
We need more. I always, you're from Ohio, but I like to pick on people from Baltimore because they have a statue of Ray Lewis out front of their stadium.
Naughty man.
Here in Pittsburgh, we have Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
And I remind them that you have an accomplice to murder. And we have Mr. Rogers. This is why the Steelers will always be better than the Ravens. Being from
I am a Steelers fan. fan.
Well, that's because the best professional football team in Ohio State is that paid one at what's cool? Ohio State.
Ohio State, yeah.
The one that cheats. See how I did that? Cheaters.
Oh, man.
And so I was in Columbus, the first Ohio State-Nebraska Big Ten game.
Ever.
Yeah,
well, 32.
When they joined the Big Ten, Nebraska, like 10U, whatever it was, and I was in Columbus for that. I was actually at Elite, and I went to West Side, and I was going to see Henry Rollins speak that night, and I'll never forget because I was stuck in traffic, and I was like, "What's all this traffic for?" And I saw the tailgate. I was like, "Oh, there's a football game," and like I want to go that way, and everyone else wants to go that way, and I can't get because of all the Ohio State fans. So I've never been to a game there, but it was chaos.
It's loud.
Yeah.
I did my undergrad at Penn State. That's not a small stadium either.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, we want to thank you for being on with us. Thank you for spending 45 minutes talking. When you're in Pittsburgh, which we know you love Pittsburgh, so you will be here.
Got to come down.
I do. I love it. I love the Steel City.
Because our good friend Rob is threatening to come visit Pittsburgh as well. He was a St. Francis tennis coach.
Oh, Rob.
Oh,
wait,
yes,
isn't he
Rob Castile?
He's the G-Dub coach now. I let the school out. And they cut his sport at the end of the year.
Oh no.
Yeah, definitely a bummer.
See, that's the pro of not working in college athletics.
They're not cutting our sport here.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty in the world of collegiate athletics.
Yeah, I actually spoke to a good friend, a former assistant of mine who's an associate AD at the Division I level now, and he said, "Did you see this school's announcement about cutting sports?" And I said, "No." And they said they got in trouble because they 100% plagiarized Stanford's announcement. He said like paragraphs. They basically took Stanford's announcement and just cut paragraphs. And I was like, I won't say the school. I'm not going to say the school, but I was like, what a bad look. And he's like, yeah, we have an article right now we're looking at about it. And they're reminding us, don't plagiarize things.
Yeah.
Out of college.
I was like, that's a good reminder, folks.
Was it an APA format?
Don't plagiarize. Yeah.
You're a coach. Someone's eventually going to plagiarize something. You're going to have this talk with a kid.
Right.
Stop plagiarizing. And don't use the first website that comes up when you do.
Yeah.
Fifth website down the Google search.
Deactivate copy paste. Just deactivate it.
I would never write anything ever again. I'm kidding. Well, thank you. Seriously, thank you so much. Like I said, this is our first one back. Hopefully everyone listens and learns something from you. And do you have any parting words for us?
Oh, I forgot, Jasper, to answer your question about...
That's me.
Oh, I'm sorry. You had a question?
Maybe.
Caffeine. I love espresso. I'm an espresso drinker.
Oh, okay.
Every day. So that definitely aids in adding some extra fuel in the tank.
Do you have one of those cool, like, espresso machines, or you just gotta go to your...
No, haven't made that purchase yet.
That's
just
big.
Found out that blonde espresso is stronger than regular espresso, too. Pro tip.
Do you know why? Can you give us the information?
No.
I know why.
Okay. I hear it's because actually elevation.
No, it's about roasting. When you roast the beans further, You're
He
the
agrees.
producer.
He pointed at me. He said elevation.
The producer's getting involved. I don't think he's.
I think that's their job.
Oh. The book Caffeinated, if you've never read it. Also, Michael Pollan has a new book on caffeine. Michael Pollan, UC Berkeley guy.
Shameless plug.
When you roast the beans, the darker you get it, you cook some of the caffeine out of it. Now, he's Googling this, and I know he's going to come up with some lie of an answer, half truth.
Fake news.
Fake news. We're going to have fact checks on this.
Yeah. Joe Rogan, come here.
But I went today actually and got a latte, and it was a 4-shotter.
That's big.
That's amazing. Oh, that's money.
So I'll up his 4-shotter.
Boom.
To a 6-shotter cold brew. Or no, not cold brew. Iced coffee. So 6 ice shots.
Yes.
It was called the Black Hole. It was for $6.66.
$6.
I don't think I've ever gone over 4 shots.
Oh,
Six,
I was buzzing.
No.
Yeah, I don't need 6.
Flying.
Yeah.
Well,
6.
6.
Oh my gosh.
Well, this coffee shop, when you're in Pittsburgh, it's only a few miles from us. We'll take a drive over there.
Yeah, it's just up the hill.
It is an interesting location.
It's a metal coffee shop.
Heavy metal coffee shop.
And I mean metal.
That's amazing.
Josh tried to prove me wrong on the roasting, and he could not.
Well, there's different schools of beanery.
Fact checker. Well, we lost all of our listeners. They're gone. Well, again, thank you very much. And we are going to text you before our next lifts, because when we need motivated, we know who will pick us up.
Yeah, we squat tomorrow.
You already know. You already know. I'm your hype woman.
Tomorrow
Ultimate hype woman over here.
Heavy squat day tomorrow. We'll be ready.
A little sweet chin
You will
music.
run through a brick wall.
Let's go. Where's my terrible towel? It's under things. I'd wave it around right now. Well, thank you again.
Kick up Renegade.
Whenever we get part 2 set, and I'm waving the terrible towel still.
Yeah, I already can
we'll get
visualize
you rolling
it.
live in the studio when you're in Pittsburgh for part 2.
Or maybe we'll go to
Perfect.
Fresno. Bring the
Maybe.
show on the road.
By the way,
Show on the road.
is there a Valley hand signal with a V?
No, there's not.
What's your
There's
chant? What's
not.
your go-to breakdown?
I say go dogs. Go
All right.
dogs. Bulldog born, bulldog bred. That's
Big-
like our slogan.
Like the Spock.
I would say big dog all the time.
Spock Valley.
Yeah.
I think they need something.
We'll get
We
it to
do.
you.
Yeah, because the V on the helmets, I always love the V on the helmet in their football.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
like
V.
a rebrand, which it
It's a
does
V.
kind of look like Villanova a little bit.
I thought
at
they had a
first
bulldog.
glance.
Well, no, so it had a bulldog in the middle and then the V kind of in the center of the
Yeah.
helmet. It was like different. Yeah, it was like one helmet that had. It was like more fun than the other helmets in college football.
Mhm.
Fun helmets are
Let's see.
important.
We'll see if we get a picture. There's a V.
It's
There it
green.
is.
Is it green?
Yeah, why is it green?
The pride of the valley.
So your colors are green as well.
Green is not one of our like colors per se, but it's in the mix for the green V and the pride of the valley slogan.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it added in more. The green definitely pretty cool.
People like green.
A lot of Irish people down there.
A lot of Irish.
It's like Boston. Well, thank you again. We'll see you next time you're in
Thank you,
Pittsburgh.
guys. I appreciate it.
All right,
I had
bye-bye.
fun.
That's
We'll
awesome.
see ya.
Go Valley.
Cheers. Big dog. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Sit.
Well, thank you.
What's it?
Well, thank you for listening to the first rebirth Phoenix episode of the Union Fitness Podcast. Catch us next week.